This is Kugan Cassius for iFilm London. We're at the Matchroom headquarters here today for another sunny day and another question and answer session with fast car Eddie Hearn. What's happening, Ed?
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? How long is this weather going to last, Coop?
I think it's going to end.
You remind me of a young Angela Rippon there reading the news.
Yeah? Who's that?
Way before your time.
Okay.
The same moves. Exactly. Oh, stop it.
Ooh. Do you want some stats before we start?
Go on then.
How many emails do you think we got in response to this? Well, you knew there was 1,000 and something after about an hour. Yeah, far off it, 1,700.
That's it.
Do you want to know another?
How many was the same question?
Not as many as you think. Guess how many people asked who Special K's opponent's going to be?
About 400. More.
11.
Is that really?
Actually asking who it is, like
yeah.
Who is Kel going to be fighting? There was 11 questions out
I'm
of
getting
700.
hounded about that on Twitter at the
But do
moment.
you think people just probably thought he ain't going to tell us anyway?
The thing is like what people have got to understand. There's so many things that have got to come together. It's not just the opponent, which is that's fine. It's we're looking at switching the venue and it's moving some stuff around at the venue, and it's not just a case of right, we're fighting him. When we announce it, we want to make sure that everyone knows the full information. And if it takes a couple more days to do it, then I'm sorry, it's going to take a couple more days. But
that's fair enough.
Problem is I said in my interview we'd announce this week, and obviously it's now Thursday, so I'm under a bit of pressure. I'm going to try and announce it this week, but maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I was just a little bit excited at the time, but I did genuinely think we'd announce this week, and we may still. I'm going to try to, but we've got to announce when everything's geared up and ready.
All right.
But good to see you back in the old Q&A, Coogie.
That's good. We didn't waste time with the last one, but we talked about a lot of other stuff before we got into the Q&A. Yeah. We're going to jump straight into the Q&A now. The quicker and more precise you answer, the more we can get through.
Yeah, I probably want to answer some of them a little bit deeper because they might rattle me.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I haven't seen these, just confirm to the
You haven't seen
readers.
them. I was up till 4 o'clock this morning.
I believe that.
Typing them up.
You've typed them up?
Yeah, I've typed them up. Questions, and the people have written them.
Bloody hell.
See?
Dedication.
Hard work, dedication, my mate Floyd says. Right, it's a mixed batch.
Before you start, just dropped a name down there.
He doesn't even know who I am. Right, okay. This might be from a few other people as well, but Gareth Lee and Jack Halbert say, when are you going to be bringing the show to Wales? And they include like Selby,
sure,
Gavin Rees.
The problem, it all boils down to demand. I'm under pressure because of the financial setup of boxing to put bums on seats. And I know I get half a dozen people on Twitter hounding me about coming to Wales, but every experience we've had of coming in Wales hasn't delivered in terms of crowds. So, Gavin Rees, Selby, the particular example is when Rees fought Crolla, we had the option to put that bill into Cardiff. But by doing it in Bolton, the numbers were better than they would have been in Cardiff. I'm not saying I'm just going to neglect Cardiff, but basically, because of the proportion of revenue in the UK in terms of gate receipts and TV revenue, gate receipts is such a key part that if we can't put bums on seats, we're going to fall behind with the numbers. So we have to go where the demand is, and I'm not sure yet whether there's the demand in Wales that we need. But I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying that at the moment it's not on the immediate agenda.
Okay.
Well, if you want to, like you say, do it as quick as we can. It's probably best not to have 10-second pauses in between each question.
Fair enough. Mark Holloway asks, when is there going to be, if there is going to be an announcement for Frochton Groves?
We're working on it at the moment. As I've said before, I think that is the likely fight now. The situation is George Groves has become the mandatory in the IBF. It's gone down the list. It went to Bute, he's injured. Rodriguez was already fighting. So it's got to George Groves, and George Groves isn't going to give up his mandatory position, and Carl Froch isn't going to vacate his title. So
All right, Alan Nasser says, if Froch and Groves does happen, will it be pay-per-view?
Do you know, it's honestly not something I've looked at. As a fan as well, it would have to be a monster card, in my opinion, to be pay-per-view. So, you know, look, I will probably get criticised if we did do a monster card and put it on pay-per-view, because people will say, oh, you said that this was a one-off with Froch Kessler. To be honest with you, I didn't know Hey Fury was going to get made, and I didn't really know Froch Groves was going to get made either, but I'm very aware that I don't want to overpopulate the market with pay-per-view events, and if I do, then I want to make sure that there's huge amounts of value for subscription buyers for the pay-per-view. So in answer to that, that's not really in my mind at the moment, but if it is going to be pay-per-view, it would have to be one hell of a monster card, I think.
Okay. Dan Bell says, who would win, Froch or Groves?
You know, as you always ask me who's my favourite boxer, and I always tell you it is Carl Froch. You don't really know how good George Groves is, do you know what I mean? And you don't really know when Carl Froch will go into decline. You'd have to say Froch is the favourite, but you can't rule out Groves because you don't know how good he is. But you know, if you asked me a serious question and said your life depended on it, you've got to pick a winner, I would have to say Carl Froch, because the form book and the odds would tell you so. But I do think it's a fascinating encounter of the old guard versus the young gun.
Okay. Tommy, no surname or anything. Any danger of signing Tyson Fury?
Well, he's with Mick Hennessy. It's not on the agenda. It's never been spoken about. I think Tyson is fantastic. I mean, I was at the press conference last week. First time I've seen him in action. I always stress that sport needs characters and personalities, and he is. People need to have an opinion on people. It doesn't matter if they hate him or if they love him. They've got an opinion of him, and to that respect, he's great for boxing. I mean, he does go over the top sometimes, but you know, I don't want to sort of be disrespectful to him. But he's young. He's only a baby, really. And you think what he's achieved already at a young age. I think if Tyson Fury was to beat David Haye, he'd be huge.
Okay. By the way, there's a couple of questions in here to me, so I'll slip them in as well. So
Nice.
I've got to answer. Okay. DL Khan 87.
Any relation?
I don't know. Eddie, you're a punk. Come to Bolton and I'll fuck you up in that cheap suit of yours. What'd you say to that?
I'd say it's definitely not cheap. I was in Bolton, so why didn't he fuck me up already?
And
free, go swim in a lake, punk.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean the cheap suit thing, I know
It's
that
definitely
the
not a
suits
cheap suit.
are they, really?
And I was in Bolton, so if he really wanted to come fuck me up, he could have had a go.
Okay.
But he never, because he's sitting home in a shed on the internet with a pair of glasses on, knocking one out.
Most probably. Ryan S. Have you ever signed a fighter and then secretly thought after, what the fuck have I done?
No. I mean, no is the answer. I mean, everyone comes with hype, don't they? And then sometimes you're going to get to a situation where people don't look as good as... I mean, even Lee Selby really didn't look as good as I wanted him to on Saturday, but I know how good he is. So I've never signed a fighter and thought, oh, what the fuck have I done? No.
Okay. Right, Dave Steen. Aside from the main 5 promoters, yourself, Frank Warren, Frank Maloney, Ricky Hatton, Mick Hennessy, who do you think is the best second tier, this is the way he's worded it, promoter out there, i.e. Dave Colwell, Mickey Elliott, Steve Goodwin, Steve Wood, Spencer Fearon? Who do you think is the best?
The thing is, you talk about those top 5. I don't think you can talk about those top 5 anymore. I mean, to me, Dave Coldwell's not a second tier promoter.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Dave Coldwell's got many more fighters than Frank Maloney. He's doing much more shows than Ricky Hatton and Frank. So I'd put Dave Coldwell in the top tier. I mean, listen, I like working with people who are easy to work with, and people like Steve Wood and Dave Coldwell, we get on like a house on fire. Things are really simple. Everybody's transparent. Everything's up front. Everyone gets paid, and we all get on with our business. So talk about Steve Wood and Dave Coldwell. I'll put them really in the top tier. They're the backbone of British boxing. They're the people that are doing the shows week in, week out without the support of the TV. you know, and they should be commended to that, because I tell you, it's tough even with TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So God knows what it's like without TV. And the job they're doing for the boys, you know, they always look out for their fighters. So I don't see it as a top tier, a tier 1 and a tier 2. I see it as one big pot. You know, all of those guys, Steve Goodwin, Mickey Hellett, are doing a fantastic job. Miranda Carter.
Yeah.
You know, without these people, British boxing would be, you know, you'd lose so many fighters, because there isn't the opportunity for everyone to box on TV. So these are the guys, and even our guys, I put them on their people's shows because we need them to tick over on. You know, sometimes we haven't got the opportunities from ourselves. So you'll see our fighters fight on Coldwell and Steve Wood shows. They're really, really important to the sport.
Okay. Harris Khan says...
Another relation.
Yeah.
Is he going to fuck me up?
No.
No.
Eddie, what is your favourite cologne? And Kugan, same to you.
My favourite aftershave is an aftershave called Creed.
By?
Creed.
What the?
No, that's MC Creed.
No.
What was Apollo Creed?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, Creed. It's an aftershave called Creed. Check it out, it's the nuts.
I'd have to go with 212.
Caroline Herrera.
Yep.
Average.
I like it, but I'm kind of an average guy. Astor A11. Coog, what is the beef with you and Bunty? Do you know what? I don't actually know. I don't know why he hates me. Like, I've never really done anything to him. He invited me onto his show 2 weeks ago, and then on Twitter he declined that offer, or revoked it rather. So I think really, Astor, if you run into Steve Bunce, maybe you should ask him what's that about, because I don't really know what the beef is, if there is one.
He's employed by Box Nation. He's supposed to be an impartial journalist, but he's not really. But, you know, I like Bunce. I was a bit disappointed that he was texting around people, telling them to report me to the British Boxing Board of Control for some comments I made on Twitter. But I thought that was a bit snidey. But I ain't gonna, you know, it is what it is.
Sorry, Astor, can't answer that one. Darren Taylor. Eddie, I'm getting married on August the 17th, and I need an excuse to stay up to watch Darren Barker. Can we help him out here?
Listen, when you get married, it gives you a couple of free passes. All of a sudden, your good lady has got security, she's very happy. So what I suggest in that situation is, get married, right? The fight will come on about 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Have a few drinks, go to sleep, right?
Let the magic happen.
Well, that's a bit cringe, but I won't be saying that.
Oh.
But, and then just set the iPhone or the BlackBerry, 3:29, yeah? Put it on a middle ring, so it's not going to wake her up as well. Right, maybe on your pillow.
So it vibrates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Up you get at 3:30, downstairs, maybe open a little beer, sit back, watch Darren Barker become IBF champion of the world. 45 minutes later, turn the TV off, back to bed, back to your wife, you wake up like nothing's ever happened.
Okay. Darren, you'll probably be divorced in the morning. James Hind. Plans for Lee Selby over the next 12 months?
He's going to box probably on October the 5th against Ryan Walsh. That's his mandatory for the British title. I won the purse bids for that last week. You know, I talk a lot about Lee Selby, and I really believe he's a future world champion. And we stepped him up on Saturday quite significantly, and it was the perfect learning fight for him. I said to him last night at that Jim Oliver's testimony, I said, you know, those fights are good for you because everyone will blow smoke up your arse, tell you the greatest thing since sliced bread, me included. Every now and again you need one of those fights to remind you this isn't an easy game. And he's got to go and deal with Ryan Walsh now, win that British title, and then we'll just keep kicking on up the world rankings. But you know, in my opinion, he's going to fight for a world title spring, summer of next year. I think he'll be ready for that. So I want to box him in October and then probably once more before the end of the year. Just keep him busy. You know, that'll be 3 fights in 6 months for him. So, you know, he's still young, he's still improving. He's going to be a great talent.
Okay. Sasa Dorchester. Have you ever done drugs when you were younger, and did Bazza pay for them?
The answer is no. I mean, I've been to Amsterdam a few times. I won't lie to you. You know, I didn't inhale.
No.
But no, Bazza Baz are very adverse to that.
Okay. Andrew P. McKeown, how much influence did Dana White and the UFC have on you?
Absolutely none at all. I mean, UFC is UFC, boxing is boxing. What Dana White's done for the UFC is phenomenal. I mean, I don't follow it that closely, so I couldn't sit here and say, oh, when he introduced that and when he started doing that. But, you know, he's the main man, isn't he, in UFC? I met him in Vegas after I went to the only UFC fight I've ever been is Lesnar against Darwin or something like that. In Vegas, and I met him after in a club. And I just said to him, listen, I love what you're doing, and we had a little chat. Take my hat off to him, but UFC doesn't interest me in the slightest. I'm a boxing man, and I think if you're a true boxing man, I just don't think you can be interested in UFC. Maybe some people would disagree with that, because I know some fighters are interested in UFC, but I don't know. For me, I admire it as a brand, but I can't really get into it as a sport.
Okay. Sin City 112. Eddie, have you ever thought about inviting Brian King 80 to one of your shows?
Brian King 80, I mean this is one guy on Twitter, he slates me so bad every day, but he did come up with the name Fast Car.
Yeah.
So I've got to thank him for that, because that is that's my new, I mean it's not Eddie anymore, it's just Fast Car. Yeah. I don't know whether I like it or not, but it's stuck. But I think Brian, there's Brian and there's Stevie Hazo. Stevie Hazo's like a poor man's Brian King. His banter stinks. But Brian King 80's sometimes quite funny. But I think secretly one day me and Brian King we'll share a beer together, and I think we'll have
Chad his name, isn't it?
Chad Hogan. I don't know, his name's Brian King, but gives me a lot of stick, but it gives you terrible
loads of stick.
Actually quite rude to you.
Don't know what to say about it, to be honest with you.
Skin like a rhinoceros, mate.
Wordy word 1-2. Coog, I know a boxer who's made a sex tape. Would you put it on iFilm London if I could get hold of it? No. Depends who it was.
You are a whore yourself for views.
No, but it'd have to be the consent of the boxer saying, yes, you can put it on there.
Well, as if that's going to happen.
Well, I don't know. You don't know. Okay. Okay, Eamon Hagen. Hay versus Fury, will it be bigger than Froch Kessler Sky box office wise?
Yeah, I think it would do more numbers. I don't know if there's been the same kind of buzz. I mean, you might be better equipped to answer that question, because I'm too close to it. Froch Kessler felt bigger for me, but then I think when the fight gets closer, Hay Fury, I think
that's right. I think when it gets closer, I think that will...
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, we sold out in 3 hours, and I think they've still got, I mean, the tickets are flying, but I think they have still got tickets, but I don't know.
So it's one of these
also, you got, I mean, not blowing my own trumpet, but we've got a big hype machine behind what we do, and don't get me wrong, they've got 2 great hype machines in Fury and Hay, but when all's said and done at the press conference, it all goes quiet. But you know, I'd like to see a little bit more constancy behind the work, like literally news every day, websites for the event, Twitter feeds for the event.
Okay. Amy Cheadle, have you ever considered Botox?
No. I wouldn't be adverse to it. You know?
Don't need it.
Thanks, mate. No, I mean, it's not. I think the problem is, once you go down that route, it's non-stop, isn't it? What else are you going to get done?
I know.
If you could have one thing changed on your body, what would it be?
Smaller cock.
Could you get any smaller? That's the problem. No, but seriously, what would
I don't know. Probably, I'd want like a 14 pack.
I've only got one earlobe. Have you noticed that? People do point it out.
What, have you?
Carl Froch ain't got any earlobes, and I've only got one. See that one?
Yeah.
And look at that one. Ain't really. It's like, well, it's sort of not really existent.
A bit muggy, isn't it?
Yeah. Born with it though.
There's nothing you can do. You're born into this, weren't you?
Yeah. Take the rough with the smooth.
Yeah. Gareth Terry, would you advise your kids to go into the boxing industry?
Not into the industry, but I would definitely. I mean, I've got 2 daughters, so if I have a son, I would definitely send him to the local boxing club. Not to take it up as a profession, but I just think for discipline, respect. You know, I mean, I had 3 years at Billericay Boxing Club and got a tonking and got spanked around down there, and it was probably the best thing I've ever done.
Okay. Adam Ali, why is Froch not in the pound for pound Ring magazine top 10?
You'd have to ask the Ring. I mean, I think is he 10 or 11?
Do you know what? Before I ask that, these are obviously not my questions, so I'm only asking what people have asked.
Yeah, I
so
know that.
He might have slipped in this morning. I don't know.
No, I don't think. I think he's 11 or something like that. I mean, does he deserve to be in the pound for pound top 10? In my opinion, absolutely 100%. But there are some great fighters around the world, and obviously, don't forget that's created by a Ring Mag, which is an American-based magazine. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Favourite fighter outside Matchroom?
Currently?
Yes.
English or world? Or both?
Yeah, that's from Gadali, 95, sorry.
Favourite fighter?
Yeah, currently, isn't it, outside Matchroom?
In the UK? I think Frankie Gavin's got a lot of ability. Yeah. I don't know enough about him to tell you whether he should fight a light welter or not, but I think he's got a lot of ability.
What about on the world stage?
Favourite fighter outside? I like Matisse at the moment. I think does exactly what it says on the tin. No frills. You know, I don't know how good he is technically, but he can whack at the moment, and I think he's. But I would probably have to say, thinking about it, Golovkin. I just think he's brilliant to watch because you know how hard he hits, and you could see Macklin knew after a round how hard he hits, and it's not a nice place to be.
Dave Torrens, is Matchroom strictly British? Would you consider an American or European fighter to the stable?
Definitely consider it. We've actually got plans to expand our own business, not necessarily Matchroom Boxing, but we'll be a part of that to the US soon. We're going to be setting up an office out in America, so you know, we've got a great relationship. I mean, we've got a great relationship with Golden Boy now. We've got good relationships with Top Rank, DeBella. So I think, you know, I think you always have to look at your market, and I don't see the appeal of a European or necessarily an American fighter to the UK market right now. I think we've got enough on our plate building UK fighters.
Okay. Jordan Wallace and Lee Watkins both want to know, are you looking to sign Anthony Crolla?
I think Anthony's a great fighter. I think the win over Reese was huge for him. I really like Anthony. It hasn't been discussed. If he's a free agent, which I believe he is, then it's definitely something we'd consider.
Okay. Jack, put his surnames in, boys. Interest in signing any female fighters, and what are your opinions on women's boxing?
No, nothing against it. If anyone wants to fight, good luck to them, and you know, there's some great athletes, but there's no appeal for women's boxing in the UK. Sorry to the women out there, but that's the truth. You know, trust me when I say broadcasters are not interested in women's boxing.
Right, Paul Reddy, would you be up for doing a live Q&A with Frank Warren if he was up for it?
Yes. I think he was going to come on ringside once. They wanted something about it had to be live, but Sky can't just let. It's like, hey, you know, you can't just let a show go live when there's going to be potentially litigious stuff. Because don't forget, we did an interview. I mean, I watched his rant the other day again on YouTube. It's outrageous, some of the things he said. I mean, but I can't be arsed with it. I mean, it's like it's fish and chip paper tomorrow. But we did a piece that was absolutely bang on, and he tried to sue you. So you know what you're dealing with, but I've got no problem in that. I don't think it'll happen.
Okay. Frankie Law, would you put Quigg in with Rigo in the next however long?
Well, it depends however long is however long. Rigo is a league above Quigg and Frampton at the moment. Will they improve to get to that level? Only time will tell. But he's exceptional. And there's not really a lot of money in the fight, that's the problem. Because, you know, I mean, I think it was HBO who said they've turned their back on, I don't know, I read something about that. But Cuban, he's not, I mean, technically excellent, not the most exciting to watch. It's a tough sell.
Okay. That was from Frankie Law. Matthew Rowland, who from your current young fighters will become world champion the quickest, in your opinion?
I mean, I think Luke Campbell is phenomenal, and I think Luke. It's very difficult to say who's going to become a world champion, but I do believe Luke Campbell will become a world champion. I think the others have got a brilliant chance, and I will do everything I can to give them the opportunity to become world champion. But Martin Ward looks fantastic. Cardle's got so far to come. Yafai's down at those weights. I think he can. Stalker's got a huge amount of experience. Callum Smith looked brilliant. I think they've all got shots at challenging for the world title, and then it's up to them.
Okay. Stuart Smith, will Kid Galahad and Eubank Jr. be on the Hay Fury undercard?
That's not really up to me. I mean, the deal is basically that they're going to split the undercard between Haymaker and Hennessy to be approved by Sky. I will work with Haymaker on their part, and Mick will put his fights on. I think Mick will have all his fighters on.
Okay. Satbir Sadra, if I pronounce that correctly, will Kell Brook's opponent be announced by the weekend?
Probably. I mean, like I said, I put some pressure on myself to announce this week, and I think I should know. It's more about the date than the opponent. I want to get everything in line, but I think by tonight I should know both. So hopefully we'll announce tomorrow.
Okay. Hugo Ross, why didn't Kell Brook take...
Hugo Ross?
Hugo Ross.
Got a couple of those shirts.
What, Ross or Boss?
Oh, no, it's the other one.
It's his mate, I think. Why didn't you take the Bradley fight for Kell Brook when he was offered it?
Because the money was shit. They wanted about 5 options on him, and we were about to become the mandatory. We had 1 fight to go against Saldivia before we were the mandatory for the IBF. I mean, if you don't understand that, you might as well pack the game up.
David Michael Atkinson, is Kell Brook the model professional as in regards to rumours surrounding his lifestyle outside the ring?
Is he the model professional? No, absolutely not. I mean, there's no smoke without fire in terms of, people talking. And look, what people got to understand is stuff about Kell Brook's weight and going out, he's blown way out of proportion. Yes, he's young. Yes, he likes his food. And yes, he likes a night out. But he's becoming maturer and maturer by the day, or more and more mature by the day. And in that respect, like after the Carson Jones fight, he's straight back in the gym on the Sunday. In 2 or 3 fights ago, that would never have happened. So, model pro, no, not at all, but getting there.
Okay. Edward Ford, which fighter outside Matchroom will go on to achieve the most?
In the UK?
In the UK.
Well, there's not many left, is there? Like I said, Frankie Gavin, I think he's a really good young fighter. Billy Joe, but he could lose to Ryder. Nathan Cleverly is a great fighter, but he could lose to Kovalev. Paul Butler looks like he could do well. I still think David Price has got a future. I really do. And of course Tyson Fury.
Okay. Kevin Fleck, is Beltran the best possible opponent you could have found?
Do you know what? Speak to people in boxing about Raymond Beltran, and they will tell you what a tough fight this is for Ricky Burns. I was talking to Joe Gallagher and Crolla and Cardle the other day. They've sparred him, and this kid is a serious fighter. And in answer to your question, outside of the world champs, I think this is the best opponent that we could have got for Ricky Burns.
Okay. This was a common question all the way through as well. Sam Smith and Sam Holden, amongst the people that asked us, how many world champions do you think you'll realistically have this time next year?
Well, Froch or Groves, if they fight. Darren Barker, Ricky Burns, Scott Quigg, Tony Bellew, potentially 5. Throw another one in the mix. I reckon 6.
Who's the other one?
Well, there's loads of people going to get world title shots this time next year. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, we might sign a few world champions as well.
Okay.
You never know, do you?
Wayne Lovett, have you signed Anthony Joshua?
No.
Just a no.
No. I know we always go on about transparency. I'm just honest. We're talking to Anthony Joshua. I think we're favourites. As we sit here on Thursday at 12:05, I have not signed Anthony Joshua.
Could get a call now. Raheel Faze. Regarding Kell Brook, rumours are that he's fighting Wasito Lopez. If he is, why fight a guy that's coming off the back of 2 losses?
I cannot deny or confirm he's fighting Josecito Lopez. If he is fighting Josecito Lopez, I think that's a great fight.
Lee Ford, any thought of Brook versus Van Heerden for the IBO belt?
Yeah, I don't mind that fight. I think it's a decent fight. I think Van Heerden comes to fight. I'm not going to sit here and say the IBO is a world title, but for me as a fan, I can't recognise it as one of the main world titles. So it'd be very difficult for me to say Brook's fighting for a world title, because if you don't believe in the dream, how can you sell it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I think the IBO do a great job, but for me, it's not the real deal.
Leads me into this next question from Nathan Dennison. Will you class Quigg as one of the British world champions, even though no one included Brian McGee as a British world champion with the same belt?
Yeah, but Brian McGee was interim champ. Quigg's interim champ at the moment, and this fight is for the regular title. When the champion unifies, they become super champion, like Rigondeaux. So the regular belt becomes available. This is for the regular belt, it's not for an interim. I don't class the interim as a world title. Many do, I don't. I class the regular title as a world title. Same belt that Mikhail Kessler held, which Carl Froch fought for, but Carl Froch unified the titles, and now he's super champion.
Alright, just coming on to this is from the Wallet Inspector. Does Eddie think he's misleading the casual fans by selling Quigg and Salinas as a world title fight, even though the WBA doesn't consider the winner to be the #1 super bantamweight in the world?
I've answered that already. One's a super champ. Quigg can't fight for the super championship belt. Sorry, unless he unifies the division. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's fighting Salinas for the regular title, the same belt that was held previously before someone unified. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like Kessler was the regular champ, but because Kessler didn't have a unification fight, and I'm not saying this is a great thing about boxing, there are too many belts, but for this particular question, yes, this is for the official world title.
Okay.
Do I think the WBA should have a super belt? Perhaps not. Do they? Yes. Is it a real world title? Yes. Am I misleading fans? Absolutely not. I've just explained it there.
Alright.
I know the Wallet Inspector, I've seen that a few times on Twitter.
I know the answer to this. You're going to say Tom Walton, the best pound for pound in Britain.
Carl Froch.
Sean Farrington, what would be an ideal first defence for Darren Barker should he beat Gill?
He'll have to fight Sturm.
He'll
have to fight his mandatory. But Macklin, really.
Berger. South End Berger.
Danny Boy.
I think you should apologise to him.
For what?
You said like he's called Burger because he ate all the burgers. It's a bit harsh. He's down the gym every day. Yeah, he did in the last one.
Burger's lost about 6 stone.
He's down the gym every day, but he was a bit harsh. Come on, he's called Burger because he ate all the burgers. I never said that. You did. It's on the last video.
Did I? Sorry, Burger. He does love a burger though.
Sorry, Burger. Riggs 87. Did you secretly chuckle to yourself when Frampton pulled out this week, or are you not that cynical?
I didn't chuckle. Yeah, there's been a lot of things said that have really surprised me from the team, and like I've always said, I really wish him the best of luck. But some things that have been said, like, you know, you must never burn your bridges in this business. And some things have really shocked me. So, and I wouldn't say they've upset me, but I haven't been too pleased with them. So in answer to your question, I didn't chuckle. And I wasn't glad, because I don't wish that on anybody, but you do wonder now. And just the timing of Quigg getting his world title shot, you do wonder what's next for Carl Frampton. But it's not my business. And no, I would never chuckle, but you know, it is a strange old setup.
Okay. Jack Brody, will Matchroom prospects feature on US bills like on Barker and Gill?
Yes, but not on Barker and Gill. We're doing something with Golden Boy at the moment where like a Go-Go is boxing on our bills and we'll have fighters boxing on their bills. So an answer, yes, but as I explained, I was talking to Callum Smith the other day, I need to build Callum Smith here. I don't just want to send him to the US to box at 4:30 in the afternoon in an empty arena. Do you know what I'm saying? Not even on TV. I know it sounds great, and I'm sure he'd love to do it, but we need to build him in the market where he's relevant.
Okay. Ryan Nasser, have you been approached by another TV company ever?
Yes.
Alan Walker wants to know about the Super 6 style tournament that you briefly mentioned.
It's just an idea. I think it can work. I mean,
Lightweights.
the problem is there's so many fights up and coming that I'd like to make that I don't know if we're going to make it in time. I think realistically the Super 6 is something that'll happen spring, summer next year at the lightweight division.
Okay.
Because I'd like to make Coyle against Matthews rematch, or I'd like to make Mitchell against Matthews, Mitchell against Reese. You know.
Okay. Mr. C99, we know you're married. If you weren't, would you shag about with the fast car groupies?
No.
Have you got
I've got to
groupies?
say that really. I ain't got any groupies.
Well then no, that's obviously no.
Yeah, the answer is I ain't got any groupies.
Okay. Andrew Bass, do you think some of your rivals are creating a Cold War situation in boxing where fans miss top fights due to promoter rivalry, a bit like Golden Boy and Top Rank situation?
No, promoter rivalry's always been there, it'll always be there. I actually think it's good for boxing. It kicks everybody up the arse. When I come into boxing, what was going on was a farce. Now everyone's picking up their game, they're trying to do bigger shows, and it makes me want to do bigger shows. I want to beat everybody, I want to be the best. So therefore I'm going to try and put on the best shows. I think it's good for fans. You know, and then when there's a purse bid, I think the big fights will happen.
Steve Ellis, will Froch's next fight be in Nottingham?
No.
Rick Ross.
Rick Ross?
Rick Ross. Rick Ross 98. I know he watches our film. Kugan, why are you so far up Eddie Hearn's arse?
It's a fair question. Why are you?
What do you think I am? I'm not though,
No,
am
you
I?
ain't, you ain't.
That's
You're, listen, I'm the only promoter you ask proper questions to.
Yeah, but I'm not
But
up
we're
your
pals.
arse, am I?
We're pals, aren't we?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But still, one thing I admire about you, you've always remained neutral. Like, I know I'm your favourite promoter, but you've always
No, but
asked me.
do you think I'm up your like? That's,
No,
that's
I don't.
quite-
No, you don't. 'Cause
No,
you,
but what do you class as up your arse? Like to me, if I'm like going, oh Eddie, that was a great show when it was shit. If I'm saying
there ain't
things
been
like
many that have been shit.
that. No, but some of them, like you bigger shows up bigger than what they are sometimes, and I might bring it down on the 1 to 10 pecking order.
Well, now the truth's coming out, isn't it?
I'm just saying. You know, like sometimes, like you Bill Bolton a 9, right? Didn't you?
And you apologise that you only build it an 8.
Yeah, and I bumped it up. I watched it back and I bumped it up to an 8.5. But the reason I give it an 8.5 because then when you have like a show with Hull, there's no.
What did you give Hull?
I gave Hull like a 9.5. Listen, because if I say it's 10, that's like the best show I've ever been to. I'll give Froch Butte a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely.
My rankings are pretty good, aren't they?
But 9.5, I really enjoyed Hull. It was a really good card. But if you keep bigging everything up to be 9s and 10s, how can you improve on that? That's what I mean.
10 and a half.
No, it don't work like that.
If it's really good, you could say it was 11. Because a lot of people do that, don't they? Out of 10, how good was that? 11.
Oh yeah. This is a good question. Andrew Wright, if Sky pulled away from boxing, do you still have a boxing business?
Well, we have to go and find another broadcaster, don't we? But we've got 1 year left on our deal, which we've got some big news coming on that. We're solid.